Welcome, my beautiful people, to What Hustle. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the What Hustle family. All right, welcome, my beautiful people, to another edition of STR News and Digest, your weekly pulse for everything short-term rental, travel, and the hospitality industry. Today, I got some mixed business news and updates to talk about. But before we do that, let me start with some exciting news from our own team. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, we officially launched our e-bike rental program for our guests. Anyone booking our properties can have access to all of our e-bikes. Plus, we also joined a new economy app. I'm going to actually share my screen in a second so you can see it. We tested it out. We put a couple of the e-bikes on there, and so far, so good. We've had, I think, 3 rentals already on that app. I personally have never heard it. It's called Friend With Me. Again, I'm going to share my screen in a second so you can see the app. So if you are interested in renting any of my e-bikes, you can either DM me and we can coordinate that directly, or you can go to this app and book the e-bike. Right now we have 2 on there, but very shortly I'm going to have about 15, 16 e-bikes. When I say 15, 16, that's 15, 16 models of e-bikes. For example, the Secret 24 that I'm about to show you in a second, that model, I have several of that model. But just to give you an idea, some bikes, we have several models. But the idea here, and for me, is to add more value to our short-term rentals, plus obviously have more revenue coming in. And lastly, I have a passion for these bikes, hence the intro to this video. We created a new, completely independent YouTube channel called What Hustle. That channel is dedicated strictly to e-bikes, the gig economy, and how to monetize and save money with an e-bike. The principles that I'm going to be talking about in that channel and some of the strategies that I'm going to be using in that channel are the same principles that I used to build this company. Right? I took this company from zero to a multi-million-dollar company using the principles that I'm going to be talking about in that channel. So if you like e-bikes or you're interested in learning some of the principles that I've used to build the wealth that I have built in a very short amount of time, because in reality, if you look at it, it's only been about 20 years, which a lot of people say 20 years, that's a lot. But in reality, in a lifespan, 20 years is really nothing, especially when you start from zero. Because if you know my story, I left Puerto Rico and joined the Marine Corps with when I left the island, the only thing I had in my pocket was a toothbrush. But anyway, so let me share my screen so I can show you that website that I'm talking about. Give me a second. Share screen. All right, so making sure you can see that. Yep. All right, guys. So this is the website, Friend With A, I think it is. I have a link to this website. It's friendwitha.com. So this is the website. This is one of the bikes. It's an $85 daily rental, or there's a discount if you rent it for the week. But again, shortly, right now we have 2. We have this one, and we have a VeloWave bike that's a step through that's on the website. but within the next couple of days, I'm going to have 14 on this website. But again, if you're interested in renting an e-bike, if you are in the Fort Lauderdale area, actually Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and you're interested in experiencing an e-bike or renting one to experience what it is to actually ride an e-bike, because I am a firm believer that once you get on an e-bike, you will never ride a regular bike again, ever. And if you follow this channel, you know that my favorite form of transportation when I travel, it's either a bike, like a regular bike, an e-bike, or an electric scooter. In fact, I just got back from Cartagena, where I rented a bike and toured the entire, almost the majority of Cartagena. I went to Boca Grande. We were in the Wall City, all on an electric scooter. That content is going to be coming up. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I highly recommend you start following me on Instagram so you can see some of the content that we created when I was there recently on business. And you'll see what I did on that electric scooter. It was a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. And I was able to move around faster than if I would have taken a taxi. Because if you've ever been to Cartagena, especially the Wall City, traffic is a mess. I mean, it's like driving in Manhattan. If you've been to Manhattan, you know what Manhattan traffic looks like, right? Okay. Let me, again, if you guys are watching, do me a big favor, like, and more importantly, comment. Let me know you're there. Say hi. If you have any questions, go ahead and do that. So let me go on to some of the stories. Today is going to be fairly short because when I say I have been extremely busy, I have been going nonstop for the last month and a half. I've been working at the vineyard. The vineyard is coming out nice. I'm super proud. Again, let me backtrack, right? For those if this is your first time watching, I have a vineyard in Georgia that I decided that I wanted to expand, make the vineyard larger. So we planted, I believe it was a total of 200 and over 200 new vines. Muscadine grapes. We planted the female and male version of the muscadine grapes, but we also created an orchard. We took 10 acres of my property and we planted an additional over two. I don't remember the exact numbers, but they're in my Instagram, and I think we did a couple of YouTube videos on it, where you see where we planted the trees. But it's over 200 trees of a variety of fruits: apple, plum, fig, peaches, pears. We also planted blackberries, blueberries, and different variety of blackberries and blueberries. Point is that we planted a lot, and we did it this winter. I was told when we planted these trees and these bushes that it was going to take at least 2 years before they start to harvest. And lucky for me, and Lorena, if you have a minute while I'm talking, if you can bring up some of the pictures or videos that I sent you so we can show people. First of all, let me stop sharing the screen. You don't need to see that screen anymore. Stop sharing. You will be able to see that we already have fruit on these trees. We have, for example, my Susuma oranges already has oranges. My lime trees and lemon trees have lemon and lime. My apple trees are there. My fig trees, in fact, this is a funny story. The fig tree, literally, when I planted them, it was just a stem, right? And it's about this high, literally about this high, and it was literally just a stick. When they sold it to me, I thought it was a joke. And they're like, no, that's it. You just have to plant them. They'll sprout. But they told me it was going to take about 2 years for them to sprout. So we planted them, and I planted, I believe, fig trees. I believe we have 47 fig trees, or in the 40s. So it's an entire row of fig trees. And when I planted them, I just saw a roll of stick. This is a stick, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope this thing's going to blossom and grow. Well, sure as shit, man. We went there, and the figs all had these big green leaves on them, and we had fig. And I have a person that I hired to manage the property, and next thing you know, I see the figs. The next day, I go out there and they're all gone. And I thought maybe a deer ate them. No, my employee ate those figs. I'm like, oh, leave them. Let's see how big they can get. Anyway, that's a side story. But super happy with that. And if Lorena can find some of the pictures that I sent her, maybe I'll show you. I'll show you on that. So the point is, I've been super busy. So we created the new channel. We've been doing a lot of content on the new channel. I also we've acquired a couple of properties, additional properties that we're going to be announcing that soon. And if you're not aware, if you haven't heard, I'm going to be a grandfather soon. So I've been spending a lot of time with my son and trying to get his house situated with the baby room and all that. So it's just been a very hectic couple of months. So I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, not going to really provide a whole lot. But there's a couple of interesting news that I want to talk about. The first one is American Express travel. Those of you that are American Express user and you use it to travel, according to a newsletter that pulled out, American Express is pulling out from selling bundle flights and hotel packages. So the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why are they doing that? Because it is a big part of their rewards program, and they're getting out. According to some news articles, they're shifting focus to higher margin luxury and concierge experiences instead of low margin bookings. People, I've been saying this for a very long time now. If you are a short-term rental operator, if you are in the travel industry, and you're not focused on adding add-ons like experience add-ons to enhance the experience, and or if you're not targeting the premium and luxury market, you're losing out. I talked about Spirit Airlines. I talked about JetBlue, how, especially Spirit. I'm going to go back to Spirit because, Spirit has had a very bad reputation for their customer service, and mainly because they were a really low budget airline. I mean, it was low budget, but they nickel and dime you for everything, and their customer service really sucked. I really think a lot of that also had to do is because of the clientele that was going on Spirit, making life miserable for these flight attendants and these gate agents. But that's a side note, and that's a subject for another video. But I can tell you, because I have JetBlue got out of the Colombia game, meaning they reduced their routes. They made it very, they're very limited now, and the flight times are like, for example, in Medellin, like 3 a.m, just doesn't suit me. So I was forced to go on Spirit. And I can tell you, I've seen a big shift, and they have, with their new CEO, have really upped their game, not just in terms of customer service, but targeting that luxury and premium class, right? It's funny though, because if you are a Spirit user, when you go in there, for example, when you go online, you purchase it, it'll tell you, we have business class, right? And then, or premium seats, and they'll sell you either that business class or that premium seating. But when you get on the plane, it's the exact same plane they always had, right? The 2 rows in the front were the bigger seats, and that back then, or prior to now, they would market that as the big front seat. Right? Even the seat had the name embroidered on it, big front seat. Today, that is their business class. Now, their premium, there's nothing different other than the fact that they closed off that side Oh, the middle seat. You can't book that middle seat, and they have a tray on it. So nothing really changed, but they are targeting that segment of travelers that everybody else is targeting. American Express being one of them. They're really starting to prioritize, personalize, high touch service for the future, just like everyone else is doing. Airbnb is doing it. We've been doing it for a while, hence the e-bikes, right? We're just adding more to that customer experience because we live in a very competitive environment today in the travel industry. I've talked about over tourism. The travel industry since the pandemic has grown faster than just about any other industry. But to its detriment, is grown too fast. And, it's gotten very competitive. Anyway, that's the deal with American Airlines. Now let's talk about talking about tourism and how it's grown a lot. The one area or the one country in which tourism has exploded tremendously, and I've actually mentioned this country and some destinations that I really recommend people go, and that is Japan. So going on to Japan's travel tourism records, from January to now, Japan has broke another record, because last year they broke record in tourism. Over 3 million visitors came in Japan in June alone. You guys, it's the numbers is hard to wrap your brain around. Japan isn't that big, right? And in June alone, they had 3 million visitors. I mean, they are smashing records left and right in terms of tourism. And Japan's success is due to targeted marketing. There's that word again, right? One of the reasons why we created the Dream Media team is because I understood early on in business that marketing is one of the most important departments in any business, right? You have to be known. You have to be visible. Hence why social media has done so well for businesses, right? Social media has put businesses up front. You don't no longer need brick and mortar. You don't no longer need big budget marketing or big budgets in marketing like you used to need in the past, like with big companies like Coca-Cola. They'll spend millions upon millions of dollars doing TV commercials and all that. Most businesses can't afford that. But now through social media, you can have access to, if not the same amount of people, if not more people, definitely the same amount of people. Less and less people are watching regular TV, and more people are on their phones and on these devices nonstop, scrolling to TikTok. That if you are a business owner and you're not marketing on social media, I am telling you, you are losing out and you're stunning your growth. And I've always said, if you're not growing, you're freaking dying. So get on social media. If you need help with your social media, contact us and we will help you with that. So kudos to Japan for targeting, creating specific targets. They have really killed it in the tourism industry. And it's a great case study for short-term rental managers. So if you're a short-term rental manager, go on to the tourism website. There's a couple of studies that you can find if you Google it as to what they did to really target and grow their tourism in Japan. Follow their model, people. You don't have to invent the wheel. The wheel is already invented. All you have to do is follow the blueprint. Okay, let's move on. Next one I want to talk about, because this one really blew my mind, right? And it's about the city of Chicago. For me, the city of Chicago is by far, it's up there, at least in the top 2 best cities that I love to visit, but only in the summer. I'm not a cold weather person, so you'll rarely ever catch me in Chicago in the winter. But in the summer, man, it is a beautiful city. Great food. There's a lot good about Chicago. The negative to Chicago is their politics. Horrible, 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 horrible. And they're adding, I think they're making it a little worse. So here's what they're doing. Chicago is considering raising hotel tax to fund programs within the city. So Chicago is already a very taxed city. So they just want to double down on stupidity and tax more. And they're considering this. And basically they're betting that with more tourism tax dollars that they can bring in, they can reinvest that in the city, in tourism, to get more people to go, to spend more money in the city. Well, I'm here to tell you, man, if you make it expensive, no one's freaking gonna go, right? I just don't get their strategy. They're also really over-regulating short-term rentals in Chicago. So I mean, I don't know. If you tell me what you think. Do you think if they increase the taxes for you to visit there, would it matter, number one? And do you think it doesn't matter? It's not going to affect anything? So tell me what you think. Comment below. I personally, here to tell you that we saw it in New York. We're seeing it in other places around the country. They're adding all these extra taxes. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, there's so many other places you can visit that are much cheaper. And again, I'm in the business. I'm in this industry. And I've been telling you, stop going to these expensive places. Stop going to these places that have a lot of tourism currently, and visit other places. Hence why I talked about Japan. But if Japan's not careful, they're going to be in that same boat, right? But and last thing I want to talk about, and I want to recap, is the fact that, well, let me just make sure I got everything here. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about in this segment, other than the fact I want to remind you about, if you're a short-term rental operator, about my ebook. We currently have it discounted for the month of July. So if you're interested in getting the ebook, now's the time to do it. So go ahead and buy it. The link is going to be down below. If there's no questions, oh, Lorena, real quick, did you find the video or no? All right, I guess not. Anyway, love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I look at my analytics all the time, and more than 50% of you that watch this on a regular basis are not subscribed. Hit subscribe, people. Hit that like button. Follow me on Instagram. Comment below. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Stuck at zero with your short-term rental? Watch Sarah go from overwhelmed host to marketing pro in 60 seconds. Meet Sarah, drowning in a sea of confusing marketing tactics. But everything changes when she discovers from zero to pro. She masters SEO, skyrocketing her visibility online. Social media becomes her secret weapon, turning scrollers into guests. Email marketing? Automated and personalized, working while she sleeps. With her own booking site, Sarah waves goodbye to hefty OTA fees. Sarah's not just growing, she's scaling, from one rental to an empire. Now Sarah's not just a host, she's a digital marketing pro with a thriving business. Ready for your zero to hero story? Get from zero to pro today and scale your rental empire.